As of January 25th, there are reports indicating that GameStop shares are marked as quote-unquote hard to borrow by some brokers. The designation suggests that borrowing GameStop shares for short selling is currently challenging due to limited availability. A Fidelity user recently noted that GameStop has been flagged for a hard to borrow warning, typically occurring in stocks with high short interest and limited number of shares available to borrow. The scarcity could also lead to increased borrowing costs and may deter short selling activities.
Oh, what's happened is you've seen the markets both here and in the United States having, I suppose, a combination of relief and reality. Relief that there were no obvious issues with regard to Y2K, and reality that interest rates in the United States may rise by 0.5%, maybe in February, and also in the UK, and also in Euroland as well.
It's described as nothing short of breathtaking, a points drop never before seen on the US markets. This closing bell might as well have been an alarm, so savage was the selling. In percentage terms, it had less impact than the crash of '87, but it still left traders and investors shell-shocked.
You saw it, didn't you? It was down some.
Why? How come?
I don't know. Bad day.
Bad day for you?
Another one, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Too many in a row.
The plunge was sparked by a jump in US inflation, the fear a bigger hike in interest rates the only remedy. It was enough to force the Dow Jones down 616 points, a drop of 5.5%. The fragile technology stocks even harder hit, the Nasdaq index in freefall down nearly 10%. It lost a quarter of its value in just 1 week.
Once this body started in motion, it was very, very difficult to put the brakes on. And by 1 o'clock, everyone threw in the towel and said it's a foregone conclusion. These things are going down. We'll wait till Monday to get back in the game.
But that game could be a rough one when our markets open on Monday morning. The expectation is that Australian stocks will be hit too.
The few days that we have in the market next week will certainly be volatile.
The only saviour, Aussie stocks are not as overvalued as those in the US, and some have lost up to half their value already.
There could well be some very good buying out there. I think people who panic will be probably be making those bargains available to the canny investor.
And spare a thought for Bill Gates. The Wall Street collapse cost the world's richest man a mere $1.8 billion this week alone. Eddie Meyer, 10 News.
Could this have been Roaring Kitty's hint between January 4th of 2000 and April 14th of 2000? The similarities are way too much to forget about. With the recent Bank of Japan rate hike, here are some images showing different timescales just to make a GameStop connection and show how big the GameStop saga truly is. And shout out to the Ultimator over on Twitter. The first image, which you are seeing right now, is a 2-hour scale showing April to June of 2024. Look what happened to USD JPY, which is the Japanese yen, right before GameStop started to get extremely volatile. And the second image is the 1-day scale showing 2020 to 2022. Look what happened to the JPY starting exactly on January 28th, 2021. The third image is the 1-week scale showing 2014 to 2025. The moment GameStop started getting walked down in price is the moment the JPY started doing the same. If you go back further in time, you will see that two strongly correlate dating back to when GameStop IPO. The theory here is that GameStop is being shorted through a carry trade as of January 28th, 2021, which is also linked to interest rates. If the yen has a very low borrow fee, historically near zero, then I can simply borrow yen highly leveraged at almost no cost, convert that into another currency, then use that currency to invest. In this case, the yen was borrowed, converted to USD, then the USD was used to short GameStop and many other things. Basically, USD JPY crashed in late April of 2024, right as GameStop's 5K block orders began rolling in. This suggests positions in USD were converted to yen to unwind parts of the carry trade, driving yen demand and volatility. Then that second picture that I showed you was on the 1-day chart, 2020 to 2022, January 28th, 2021, USD JPY began a strong upward trend. The same day, GameStop's price skyrocketed amid extreme volatility. This points to yen carry trades being leveraged to short GameStop and other meme stocks. And then that third picture, 2014 and 2025, basically, since 2014, USD JPY trended strongly with correlation to GameStop price suppression phases after January 2021. The yen carry trade likely became the primary tool for shorting GameStop, tying GameStop's volatility to global financial stability. So the yen carry trade involves borrowing yen, historically cheap, which is changing as of right now, converting to USD and shorting GameStop. Rising yen rates, which we just seen threaten this trade, forcing the unwinding of that trade, which impacts USD, JPY, and global markets, and the list goes on and on. As the yen strengthens against USD, converting from USD into the JPY yields less and less, so conversion rate becomes a massive factor. It isn't a problem as long as the returns from whatever is denominated in USD outweighs the rate of change of USD JPY. But if that goes the other way, you see a massive problem. That was what happened in August of 2024 because the yen strength starts increasing while asset prices in USD decrease, resulting in a depreciating return effect, disallowing the carry trade from actually being unwound. Now, this could also be a massive, massive retail trap across the board. In fact, the largest trap that we have ever seen. Investors are piling into US stocks at rates rarely ever seen before, but I've talked about it recently with you guys that hedge funds are actually selling stocks at the fastest rate since 2008 financial crisis. Retail alone bought $7.8 billion worth of equities over the last week, which is the most since November of 2023. Investors have been so optimistic, which is a major, major trap. The reason it's major trap is because, yeah, it's retail investors. But guess what? Look at the dark pool data. We are seeing major, major moves over on off exchange compared to lit exchange, aka on exchange, aka lit markets that actually affect price action, supply and demand. We are seeing so much action over here that it is now surpassing for the first time the on exchange volume. That means more is actually being traded off exchange. Retail investors are about to get stuck in the biggest trap that they have ever seen. Now you can't make this up. The differences between 2008 2004 are very minimal, along with the 2000, which we could potentially correlate to Roaring Kitty's tweet. In 2008, the Bank of Japan raised interest rates and the markets fell into chaos. Around the same time, one of the most spectacular financial events unfolded, the Volkswagen short squeeze, which we talked about. Porsche began acquiring Volkswagen shares, drastically reducing the supply of tradable shares. Short sellers were forced to cover their positions in panic, driving the stock price to astronomical heights. For a brief moment, Volkswagen became the most valuable company in the world. Now hang on, before you forget about that, okay? This is going to be some interesting tin. GameStop pulled out a white knight out of the box from their Instagram photo just now that we have seen. White knight investor is essentially the same concept as a white knight in business terms. So a friendly acquisition, this investor or company steps in to buy or merge with a company that is facing a hostile takeover, offering a more favorable or friendly alternative to the existing management and shareholders. Protection from hostile takeovers. Their goal is to prevent the company from falling back into the hands of a less desirable acquirer, often referred to as a black knight. They generally offer terms that are more aligned with the interests of the company's stakeholders, including better job security for employees, preservation of corporate culture, or better financial terms for shareholders, so on and so on and so on. This is potentially the white knight. Now hang on, we are not done yet. Short sellers were forced to cover their positions in panic, driving the stock price to astronomical heights. For a brief moment, Volkswagen became the most valuable company in the world. Now in 2024, we're seeing a similar scenario. The Bank of Japan rising rates, the yen is appreciating, and the carry trades are collapsing. Short sellers are under immense pressure, and all the eyes are on heavily shorted stocks like GameStop. Oh wait, Porsche was a catalyst, but who will it be for GameStop? Could it be Roaring Kitty, whose conviction and leadership have reignited the community? Or perhaps Nat Turner, recently added to the board, bringing his strategic expertise to the table? There are whispers and signs of billionaire alliance forming, one that could launch GameStop to unimaginable heights, $4 trillion in market cap. Why not? With the community, the company's fundamental strength, and strategic backing, we could be witnessing the making of history. So following that tin, right? GameStop also posted, experience a new action RPG adventure on 1/28/22. Pre-order and purchase the Pokemon Holding Legends, yada, yada, yada. Notice, 1/28/22. What is that the anniversary of? Obviously, the squeeze. Okay, that requel. But take a closer look at their link. bit.ly/3-year hodl. Okay, you can't make this up. There are clear as day hints hinting at some things, and that is going to lead me into another thing. First of all, GameStop's chart, very, very briefly. You know what? I'll touch on this in a second. There's a theory out there, right? And shout out to all these people that do amazing due diligence over on Twitter. April 20th is the 110th day of 2025. Roaring Kitty made 110 memes in May of 2024. I'm going to piggyback off of this. I think it's very, very similar. I think actually the 109 from Roaring Kitty's post leading into that date is accurate, right? From his early January post, so on and so on and so on. You go and you take a look, and I could be off on this, but the way it lines up is very, very odd. So January 9th, and you go and you count. So from the 9th to today, the 25th, 16 days, and then 17 days would be Sunday, and then 18 days would be Monday. Now from the first meme, you go 1, 2, 17, 18 lands you on this meme. 3 years of nights. Okay, 3 years of nights. You can't make this up. All of these line up on the requel that comes Monday. So, lottery stocks, what are you talking about? Well, we could see the first gap up Monday, and I don't want to overhype people, but one of the biggest gap ups that we have seen starting this requel. If you take a look at my charts that I've been tracking over on the weekly time frame, here's something that you cannot, basically, you can't forget about, right? This low that we've hit, the low to before we squoze, 280-day period, okay? You can't make this up. From the low to the beginning of this week, 280-day period. What does that mean? That means we see the jump this week ahead, or this is the last week we see of potential sell-off or flat trading or whatever before the next move higher. There are just too many things lining up. There's a whole lot of tin, but so much of it is so interesting. The same exact thing goes for AMC. From the low, okay, from the first low for AMC, 294 days. Where do we fall on? Well, from the low, actually coming into this week, 294 days. That marked the last low, aka the bottom. So this may be the last week of sideways trading, sell-off, whatever, right? Or maybe we get an early squeeze, but the time frames don't lie. Even if the tinfoil is off, the time frames don't lie. Also, this is a little bit of a stretch, but could Treehouse Brewing Co. be hinting at this candle since they just posted this, along with Roaring Kitty's thumbnail and the Japanese carry trade unwind, all that other stuff, right? Now, we are on the weekly on the SPY, and I'm just going to point out something. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but what are these bars patterns that I have? Yellow, as well as the blue, okay? These are historical crashers that have lined up with Roaring Kitty's tin that I've just grabbed from back in 2000 and back in 2008 and lined them up. And both times you can see that they made that second high, okay? Here's the first high, came up and made the second high before collapse. First high, came up, made the second high before collapse. We had our first high. We're coming up to make that second high, potentially before that collapse. So everything is still currently on track. And I'm going to ask this last question. Where do you think we are now in this market cycle? Are we anywhere in this market cycle? Overall, you can't ignore the factors of most volume is going to off exchange. Institutions have been selling. Retail is propping up the market, which is so dangerous for the average investor. If you're not sitting on cash and you're sitting in these overvalued tech companies, all this other stuff. There are way too many things that line up. Now, this video is going to be sponsored by my own personal Discord that I want to let you know right now is at about 830 or so members. Right now, from this time being, I plan on leaving the price where it's set. Right now, the price was up. I said that in 2025 it's going to be up. And once we hit 1,000 members, that price is going to more than double. And following that, it will be harder to get in the Discord the more we advance it. As of right now, we just added some new channels, scalp channels, high success trades that are firing off throughout the entire day, as well as analyst grades for companies that are coming out every single day. On top of that, if you don't know, we have breakout trades that get popped off and launched throughout the day, option sweeps that pop off and get launched throughout the day, insider trade alerts that pop off and get launched throughout the day, dark pool activity, same thing, showing major dark pool activity and the exact details, and then obviously just market news that you're going to need, okay? All very simple. And on top of that, the best part is the Stock Talk group chat where the most amazing people, the best family in here, best vibes, bounce ideas back and forth. They talk stocks and crypto all day long. Crypto only channel posts our gains, posts our losses, etc. Request videos, off-topic discussions, all this other stuff. So if you're not in, it's the very top link in the description of the video. Don't sleep on it, guys. Under that link is for Moomoo, where you can get up to 30 free stocks. You just have to sign up. Do it before the month of January is over. You got time. It's the weekend. Once you sign up for the free broker and make a deposit, you will start earning up to 30 free stocks, as well as 8.1% APY on your uninvested cash, access to level 2 order book data for free, trading options, going long, going short, viewing other exchanges, and more as a retail trader. So do not sleep on it, guys. Go check those top 2 links in the description. That is it. I love you all. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless. Lottery Stocks out.